So good afternoon, everyone. As BJ said, my name is Jeremy Walsh. I'm the Director of Training and Documentation and Support for BNI Connect. And today what we're going to focus on is what we call the member module, or more specifically, it is the online slips module. So throughout all of our years in BNI, one thing that we've always done is to turn in pieces of paper at the meeting. Well, that's great, and we still want to continue to have all of this great activity in the meeting, but technology has finally caught up with us, and now we have the ability through BNI Connect to do some of these things electronically. Now, I'd just like to state right up front, we are not trying to change the meeting in any way. This is an exceptionally important part of the meeting, that we are sharing this activity with our fellow members. The only thing we're doing is we're enhancing people's memberships, because there are some great benefits to doing these slips online through BNI Connect. The first of which is we now have, which hasn't ever really been available before, the ability to track all of these slips that we turn in on a weekly basis. Previously, you drop them into a basket, you put them into a bowl, whatever it is, and they are pretty much disappeared at that point. Well, now through BNI Connect, we'll be able to track those. There's also the notification part of it, and for any membership coordinators that are on the call with us today, it makes your life a lot easier, because it's less paperwork that you have to do. For every online slip that's entered, that is automatically put into the POMS reports for you. My membership count in my chapter, we have 50 members in our chapter, and I can tell you I've substituted for our vice president before to do the POMS report for them, and I'm sure membership coordinators can agree that that can take upwards of an hour to go through and find people on the list, and back and forth and back and forth. Since the online slips in our chapter has been put in place, and we have probably about 50% of our members that are doing the slips online, that time has been cut in half by the we call them vice presidents here in the United States, so you have to forgive me. But for the membership coordinator of our chapter, it has cut the amount of data entry time in half. So let's get started. Once you log in for the first time after this is turned on, what you're seeing on the screen now is the new home screen. So there's some major differences. This is probably what you see now when you log into BNI Connect, which is called the My Network screen. So it has all of the network functions, the connections, the groups, the documents that are shared within your region. This will be augmented by the My BNI Business page. So if you do need to come back to documents or anything, you can still click on My Network, but this will be the first screen that you'll see. Now, a couple of changes on this screen, and you'll see here at the top of the screen, what this is it's a personal POMS report. So this is your history based on the POMS reports for the last 12 months, as well as your lifetime in BNI Connect. So the great thing about that is, even if you've left BNI and come back again, or you've went from one chapter to another chapter, it will put all those memberships together, and you will see a true number for your entire lifetime in BNI. And again, this is based on the POMS reports. So only after membership coordinators have accepted the POMS reports, verified them, and submitted them officially will these numbers change. That's an important thing to know. As you're entering these slips online, you will not see these numbers change right away. They will only change after your membership coordinator has entered and submitted the POMS reports. There's also a new number on here. So again, this says the traditional columns: referrals received, thank you for closed business given, referrals given, visitors one-to-ones, and CEUs. There's a new field on here. Now, everybody starts off with 0, but this is a thank you for closed business received. That is something that we've never been able to track in BNI before, because of how thank you for closed business is done. If you recall, if you look at the thank you for closed business slip, all it is a thank you for the person who generated the money. There was no way to track who actually received that money. That was considered an anonymous figure. But now, if you enter slips for thank you for closed business online, you will start to see this number accumulate. So you'll see it go up as you're turning in thank you for closed business slips. Now, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to switch over to our test system, because as BJ said earlier, I am still a member. That was my actual login screen, so I don't want to mess up my own numbers in my own chapter. So I'm going to switch over to our test system here, and let's show you how this functionality works. The first part up here, we'll see enter and 4 different types of slips. Enter thank you for closed business, enter referrals, enter one-to-ones, and enter CEUs. Then we'll see something called the referral tracking sheet, and I'll show you what that does in just a few minutes. And then we'll also see the My reports, and you notice there's a companion report for each one of the slips. There's the My thank you for closed business report, the My referrals report, the My one-to-ones report, and the My CEUs report. Then at the bottom, we'll also see a referral tracking report and a personal meeting activity sheet. And we'll go through all of these things. Now let's just go in order here. What's the first thing you might want to do is to enter a thank you for closed business for money that was generated for your business. So to do that, I'm just going to click on the Enter Thank You for Closed Business button. And what we'll see pop up on the screen here is the same exact slip that we enter right now for Thank You for Closed Business. I think in our region anyway, it's a green slip. Is that the same in your region, BJ?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so these are equivalent to the green slips, and it has all of the same fields on it. All you need to do is choose this drop-down and select somebody from your chapter. So let's say that I wanted to thank Ian Barlow. He is a occupational therapist in our chapter, and let's say that he referred me somebody that generated $2,500 in closed business for myself. This was a new client. It was an outside referral. And the great thing about this is that I can even put whatever comments I want to on this slip. Comments will always remain private to you and only you. Nobody else can see those comments. Even me, I'm a system administrator of BNI Connect. I have godlike access to the system. I cannot see these comments that you put into these slips. They're for your reference only. But if I wanted to, I can even put, this was John Doe for consulting work, so that when I go back to look at these slips later, I can now see the details of what slip I turned in. Now, we have a couple of choices at the bottom. I can do Save and New, which is going to submit this slip. It'll essentially drop this slip into the virtual hat or bowl that you might pass around and automatically start up a new one. Or I can just click Submit, and that will just turn in this slip and bring me back to my home screen. Or I can hit the Close button and just cancel this activity altogether. I'm going to go ahead and click the Save and New button. And you'll see a new slip opened up. Now on all of the slips, we also have a new ability here, and that is to be able to turn in one of these slips to another member from your region. So let's say that I don't have a chiropractor in my own chapter, but I've managed to get a relationship going with a chiropractor that's in a neighboring chapter. Well, now I can track those activities that I do with that other member. So let's say that I did receive a referral from another member of another chapter, and I need to thank them for closed business. You'll also see this button here that says Search Cross Chapter. And this will allow me to find another member in our region in order to turn it in this virtual slip to them. So I click Search Cross Chapter, and all I need to do is put in at least 2 fields into any, 2 characters into any of these 3 fields. So let's say that his name was Gary, so I'm going to put in Gary and click Search. And this will bring me all of the Garys in the region. And we can see that Gary Gallo of BNI B2B Synergy, what company he's in, and what profession. If this is the person that I'm looking for, I'm just going to go ahead and click the little button next to it. It's going to select them. It's going to ask me, am I sure this is the right person? And I'm going to click OK. We can see now that the thank you to has been filled with Gary's name, and I can continue to fill out the rest of the slip. So let's say this one was for $100, and this one was repeat business, and it was inside referral. Gary referred himself to me. And I can put in any details that I would like to put in. And again, if I wanted to do another thank you for closed business slip right away, let's say that you're going through your QuickBooks or your accountant's log, you can go through and just do all your thank you for closed business one after the other after the other. I'm just going to click Submit here because this is the last thank you for closed business that I'd like to do. Now, typically when we turn these in at the meeting, that's the last that we see of the thank you for closed business slip. So let's say that you turn a slip in today in the traditional fashion with a piece of paper. It goes into your Palms report. You get thanked for it. Now, 6 months from now, somebody from your chapter comes back to you and says, hey, by the way, did you ever turn in that closed business for the referral that I gave you 6 months ago? Well, now it's kind of relying on our memory to see if we have done that, or if you keep a separate spreadsheet or some other means of tracking that. But now we have the My Reports that go along with this. So let's take a look at this My Thank You for Closed Business report. I'm going to click on this. Now you can choose any date range that you'd like, but obviously it will only start accumulating data for any online slips that you enter. So by default, it's going to choose the last 6 months, but again, you can change this to go back as far in time as you'd like to. And I'm going to click Go. And what we can see here is a record of all of the thank you for closed business slips that I have turned in online. So I can see, if Frank Karpowitz comes to me a couple of months from now and says, hey, did you ever turn in that slip? I can go back here and I can say, oh yeah, on the 15th of January, I turned one in for $1,350, and that was the referral Bob Smith that you had sent to me. And I can even look back and say, oh yeah, on March 15th, there was one for $2,000, and that one was for Bob Jones. So it's very easy for us to go back and look at this information, and it gives you a nice total here. And as always, you can export these reports, or you can print them out on paper if you'd like to. Let's take a look at the second type of slip that we might want to put in, and that is the referral slip. So if you want to enter a referral slip, we're just going to click on Enter Referrals. Nice pop-up box comes up, and hopefully this looks familiar because it's the exact same slip that we pass in now. It even has the temperature gauge over to the right-hand side. So the same way we did with the Thank You for Closed Business, we can just choose a member from our chapter. So let's say I'm going to choose Dean Boucher here. He is the Verizon reseller in our chapter, and this referral is to Harry Smith, and it's an outside referral. I gave Harry Dean's card. I also told Harry that Dean would be giving him a call, and we're going to put the address in, 1 Thayer Street in Providence, Rhode Island, Harry's phone number, Harry's email address, and any comments. We can also rate this on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being tepid and 5 being hot. And I'm going to call this one a 4. And I'm going to go ahead and click Save and New. That will bring us a new referral slip, so I can enter another referral slip right away. Now, similarly to the Thank You for Closed Business, we're also going to have the Search Cross-Chapter button. So as you're building relationships with other people around your region and you end up with a referral, I know that there is a sign person in my region, and the sign person is Joe Lamastro. I have him do all of my signs because we don't have a sign person in our own chapter. So I'm going to click OK. And let's say Joe, and this is a self-referral. And I'm going to make this an inside referral. Please give me a call. I can put in the address. I can put in my telephone number, my email address, and any comments. I'm going to rate this as a super hot one because I need this done right away. And I can go ahead and click Submit. And once I click Submit, it will turn in that referral. Again, the same as passing the referral at the meeting. And now we can also see we have our companion report down here. So we have the My Referrals. This is the equivalent of the yellow sheets that you probably have in a shoebox, rubber banded together, that you've collected for years and years and years. Now we can look those up online as soon as we start passing them through BNI Connect. So this one's going to just choose the last month by default, but you can always go back and choose a longer date range if you'd like to. And I click Go. And now I can see all of the referrals that I've passed over the past couple of months. So I can see this one that I just put in for Joe Lamastro. I can see there was an inside referral, a call was required, and that it was new signs for my business. I can also see the one that I turned in for Dean and all of the other referrals that I've turned in over the course of the past few months. Now, the other great thing about the referrals is that as soon as I hit submit on that referral, the recipients of the referrals received an email right away saying, hey, you've got a new referral on BNI Connect, and here's what one of those referral notifications looks like. And this is an actual referral that I received a few days ago. This is from somebody in my chapter. His name is Ken Neff. Lets me know that he referred me on the 12th, that it was an outside referral, that he told them that I would give them a call. It gives me all of their contact information that was entered onto the slip, the comments that were entered onto the slip. It also gives me all of Ken's contact information. So if you're receiving this on, let's say, your mobile phone, you can actually just click this button. You can usually click the phone number right there and be able to click to call, and I can give him a call for more information if I need to, and or email him back. And if you do reply to this email, by the way, it does go directly to Ken, so you can reply to these referral requests. So let's take a look at the one-to-one slip. Now the one-to-one slip, again, we have the same options as we do on the one-to-one slips now. We can just choose somebody from a chapter. So let's say I did a one-to-one with Seth Jacobson. He's a photographer in my chapter. I choose the location. So we met at the coffee shop. We talked about Seth's new techniques for photos. And we put in the date of the one-to-one. Now, the great thing about the one-to-one slips is that, again, they do go into the POMS report, but only one person of the pair needs to enter the one-to-one. If Seth then goes back to his computer and tries to put the one-to-one in for the same date with me, he will get a notification saying, hey, Jeremy already entered this one-to-one. There's no need to enter it a second time. Now I'm just going to go ahead and click submit. Again, the search cross chapter works the same exact way where you can search for another member across your region. So I'm just going to click submit. And again, there's the companion report that goes along with this. We have our My One-to-Ones. Now, to me, this is one of the biggest benefits of using the online slips is tracking the one-to-ones. Have you ever gone to your chapter meeting and you realize that you're looking across the room at one of your referral partners, one of the people that are in your power teams, and you say, you know, I haven't been able to give John a referral in quite some time, or he hasn't given me a referral in quite some time. I wonder why. We used to do a lot of business together. Usually that's because of one-to-ones. One-to-ones are the key to building relationships. So we can go back and look at our My One-to-One report. I can say, hey, you know what? I haven't done a one-to-one with John since December. Maybe I should do some more one-to-ones with this person and rekindle that relationship. So as of now, we're relying on our calendars or just our memory to see when we have performed our meetings with our referral partners. So to me, this is one of the biggest benefits of this whole system and entering slips online.
Jeremy, just so that you know, currently we don't have one-to-ones or even CEUs in our POMs, but as of 2nd of April when this goes live, we will also have one-to-ones and CEUs being recorded in the POMs.
Excellent. Did you want to add anything else about the CEUs or the one-to-ones now, or do you want to save it for questions?
We'll save it for later. Some of them have been introduced to it, but yeah, when you go into the CEU columns, they might want to know more about exactly what that is, because that would be something new. One-to-ones, we already have the slips there, but we just don't record them in POMs. We will be doing so now from the 2nd of April. But CEUs are something which is brand new. So when you talk about CEUs, we can take questions at the end of the webinar, but just trying to elaborate exactly what CEUs are, and you know, you have the slip there so they can see the kind of points they get for the different activities.
Sure. Well, this is the next slip in line, so the CEUs. Now, CEUs are chapter education units. If anybody is in any type of an industry where you have to do continuing education, I know in the United States a lot of lawyers and real estate agents do need to go through yearly trainings. They're usually based on number of hours that you've spent in these trainings. And in BNI, we record the places that are currently doing it. We record these different types of trainings. So listening to a BNI CD or reading SuccessNet when it comes out, that earns you 1 credit per course. Podcasts, if you go to bnipodcast.com, those are the Dr. Meisner's weekly podcasts. Listening to 5 of those podcasts also earns you 1 credit. Member Success Program, everybody should be familiar with what a Member Success Program is. That earns you 2 credits. Leadership Team Training, that earns you 3 credits. Advanced BNI Training Modules, and these are regionally specific advanced training modules. So for more description on what is available in your area, I'm sure BJ has more answers on that, but those are worth 4 credits. And then other BNI endorsed networking workshops are 5 credits, and reading one of BNI's books is another 5 credits. The thing to keep in mind here is that for the most part, it roughly equates to the number of hours that you would spend doing any of these activities. You know, most of the CDs in BNI Connect are about an hour. So that's why it is a 1 credit or 1 hour for that type of activity. You know, the same thing with the podcasts. The podcasts are roughly 10 to 12 minutes apiece. 5 podcasts takes about an hour to listen to. So again, that's where you would get the 1 credit there. Now, important on this type of slip is that it does the math for you. So let's say that I went to, I listened to 5 podcasts this week, and I went to a leadership team training. I want to make sure I'm putting the quantity in here because it's doing the calculations for me. So for example, I actually went to 2 leadership team trainings this week. It put 6 in my credit column for that, and the 1 in my credit column for this one up here. So we can see that the total for this week is 7. Now for this, there's usually only a need to enter 1 of these slips per week, so we don't have a Save and New button, we just have a Submit button. And as with all of the other types of slips that we've entered, we also have the My CEU report. So we can see the details of the CEU slips that we've entered, and here's the details of my CEU slip that I entered this week. We can see that I got the 2 credits for the leadership team training and the 1 credit for the BNI podcasts. So those are all the slips that you enter into BNI Connect. Now, one of the other great things that I think is an incredible enhancement to our membership is that when you receive a referral, you can now track the progress of that referral online through BNI Connect as well. So as somebody sends you an electronic slip, so you get your referral notification saying, hey, you've received a referral, it also puts it into something called the referral tracking sheet. And this is, again, straight out of the Member Success Program. We learn about the referral tracking sheet, that we should be following up on our referrals and making sure that they turn into business. That's what the referral tracking sheet is for. So if I click on the referral tracking sheet, it'll take us to a new screen. I just need to put a date range in. I'm going to widen my date range here and click Go. Now, these are all of the referrals that I've received in BNI Connect. And what we can see here is we have a referral from Bob Jones back in January, a referral from Jan Burtwell that was back in November, and then another referral that was done on 11/08 on November as well. And we can also see the status of those: closed, closed, and new. Now what we can do once we receive these referrals again is we can track them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Edit on this particular referral. And this is a new one. I can see that John Ford referred himself to me. And again, these are all of the details that were entered at the slip, when the slip was turned in. But the great thing is now I can track my activity on it. So I can say, I contacted John. When did I give him a call? I gave him a call on the 1st of the month, and then we set up a meeting. So the meeting was set up, and we met on the 6th of the month. Then I followed up with him again on the 8th of the month, and did this end up turning into business? And I can track that as well. I can also re-rate this if I need to. So he put it in as a tepid referral, but this turned out to be more important than that. Maybe it was a 4. And at the bottom, I can also track, again, this is only for your own benefit, by the way. This doesn't affect the POMS reports in any way, but I can track whether or not this ended up turning into additional business. The status of this one is now, let's say, either pending, if you're still working on it, or closed, or it might have turned into a no sale. But I'm going to mark this one as closed. Now, once I submit this, we'll see that my status here is closed, and we can, again, track the progress of the referrals that we received online in BNI Connect. So going back to my home screen, if you're just looking for a report of this information, we have the referral tracking report that's here. And this one doesn't allow you to edit it. It is just a report of all that activity in a nice spreadsheet format. Now, the one question I always get asked is, okay, now that we're doing all these online slips, what are we supposed to do at the meeting during the referral and testimonial portion? As I said before, that part of the meeting doesn't change at all. We're still going to stand up. We're still going to talk about the referrals that we've given. We're still going to talk about the thank you for closed business. We're still going to talk about the one-to-ones. The difference is we don't necessarily have to drop paper into the bowl. But if you would like to be eligible for the door prize drawing, you have a couple of options here. We have the personal meeting activity sheet. And what the personal meeting activity sheet is your activity to report on during that portion of the meeting. So I'm going to choose, by default, it's going to choose what your next meeting date is. And I'm going to click Go. And what we'll see here is all of the referrals that I've entered online. And you'll notice that it's the size and shape of a regular referral slip that you would pass in the meeting. It also organizes all of the thank you for closed business that I turned in, all of the one-to-ones that I've done, and all of the CEUs that I had for this week. So the idea behind this is that you could print this out ahead of time. You can cut out these referral slips in order to be entered into the door prize drawing, and you can announce these other things that you're doing in the meeting. Now, if you forget to pass in your referral slip, or you forget to print this out ahead of time, or you don't have a printer at home, or whatever the reason might be, my suggestion is definitely talk with your membership coordinator first. But what we'd like to avoid is the duplication of entry into the system. As you know, anytime you enter a slip online, it does get automatically put into the POMS report for you. But if we turn in a duplicate slip, then there's a possibility that it could get double counted. So what we recommend you do is just fill out a regular referral slip at the meeting, but then take a big red X right through the middle of it and make sure you write online, entered online, so that your membership coordinator knows not to double count this one. But you can still be eligible for the door prize drawing at that point. So let's take a look real quick for those membership coordinators that are on the call with us today. Let's take a look what this looks like from the membership coordinator level. So you're going to go in just like you would on a weekly basis and to enter your POMS reports. So as a matter of fact, let me just switch back over to the United States here. I was in my test region in Antarctica, but I need to be back in my own chapter here. And I'm going to go and enter a POMS report as a vice president. So I would go to operations and chapter, and then I would go to my meeting management, and I would click on the enter POMS button. And I'm going to choose the report for this week. And what we're going to see here is that this POMS report is partially filled out for us already. So we can see that thank you for closed business that I entered for Ian Barlow here has already been entered for us at $2,500. Scrolling down a little bit, the referral that on a previous webinar I gave to Larry Fish is listed here. The referral that I gave to, or that was a visitor from John Ford, which I haven't shown you yet. The one-to-one that I did with Seth Jacobson is already listed here. And I have one received referral, or referral given inside, one inside referral given, and one referral given outside. So there's the one that I referred myself to Joe Lamastro from another chapter, and then there was the two referrals I gave to the people that were in my chapter. And then we also have the CEUs that were entered for the week. Now, if you're curious, where did all these come from? You'll also see a new button here called the Slips Audit Report. And by clicking on this button as a membership coordinator, what you will see is all of the slips activity in one nice list. So you can very easily go through, and this is your way to it's your balance sheet, if you will, between the pieces of paper that were handed in and the ones that were automatically entered into the PALMS report for you. So we can see here the CEU slips that were turned in. We can see the one-to-one slips that were turned in. We can see the thank you for closed business slip. And again, as before I said, that the thank you for closed business, those are anonymous, so you don't see that I turned those in, but you do see the amount. And again, the membership coordinators will not see the details that you put in. Those are private only for you. If you'd like to, you can print this out if you'd like to have a side-by-side sheet as you're working, or you can export these to Excel if you would like to. So the final piece of this, if you'll notice here, is that there is a automatically entered visitor credit as well. And that's because entering visitors into BNI Connect will also automatically update the PALMS report. So if I go to Operations Chapter again, and this is where the Secretary Treasurers usually enter the visitors, I would go in and I would add a new visitor. All we need to do is what we would normally do in the system. We're going to choose the type of industry and classification they're in, and we're going to choose who to give this credit for. So the person that invited the visitor would get the credit for this. So let's say that Keith Traversy, a member from my chapter, invited this visitor to the chapter. They showed up at the meeting. What day did they show up at the meeting? Note, it's only going to put in the meeting dates. So he showed up on the 14th, and we're going to put the person's names in, contact information, and any notes about that visitor. And we'll click Submit. And now Keith will get credit in the PALMS report for inviting that visitor. And what we should see in the meeting management, if I go back to the PALMS report, and that would be for this upcoming meeting. Keith Traversy in the list here now has credit for that one visitor, and just to verify that, if we click on the Slips Audit Report, what we should see here is that Keith Traversy invited a visitor, and that's what he got credit for in the PALMS report. Now, just one thing to note is that the visitor credit is given, again, this is our PALMS report for the upcoming meeting this week. If you notice, this report is for the 21st of March. So this was actually a visitor that showed up last week. So after the visitor entry is done, that will get put into the upcoming PALMS report. This may be different from what is traditionally done because you would get credit on the same meeting that they showed up to. But with the automatic entry, it does get rolled forward to the upcoming meeting. So I'm going to leave that report open for now and go back to our home screen. So BJ, that covers all of the online slips. Would you like me to show you the customizable menus real quick as well?
Yeah, it would be a good idea. Yes, please.
Okay. The other change that was made, one of the things that people have said over the past few years using BNI Connect is, I can never find anything on BNI Connect. I don't know whether to go to operations or report or tools or admins, or not really sure where to go. We've made that a little easier by giving you customizable menus. So you notice this menu on the left is changed, but we also have, again, depending on what level you are, you may see different options here for chapter, region, country, and headquarters. For example, if you are just a chapter member, you'll only see this chapter menu. If you happen to be a director consultant, you may see the region menu, and so on and so forth. But what this is all of the things that are under operations chapter and reports chapter, they're all squished into one menu now, but the menu is customizable by you. So let's say that I am a vice president, or I'm a membership coordinator or chapter director. I may use certain functions more than I use others. Well, I can customize this list so it has all of the functions that I need at my fingertips. So I'm going to go ahead and click Configure here, and this will bring us in to configure those quick links. Now, everything on the left-hand side here are the things in my custom list. Everything on the right-hand side here is shortcut items that I'm not using. If I'd like to remove things from my list to make it shorter, I can do that by clicking on the red X button, and it will take them out of my active list and put them over in the waiting list. If I'd like to take something out of my waiting list and put them into my active list, I would just click the checkbox button. So let's say that I'm a chapter coordinator. I might want this report. I'm going to drag it up to the top of the list here because I want that to be front and center. I also love the personal POMs report, so I'm going to bring that one, and I'm going to drag that one up to the top as well. And I might want to also have the classifications not in chapter report, so I can come up with ideas for good visitors for my chapter. Now, once I click Save, it's going to save these changes, and I'm going to click Close to return back to the menu. What we'll see now is as we refresh this list of reports and functions has changed, so that now I have the VP report right up at the top, the personal POMs report right up at the top, and the classifications chapter with one-click access. So right to get to that function. So I no longer need to necessarily go to reports chapter or operations chapter to get to these functions. I can get through them with one click right on the home screen. Okay, Bijay, that concludes the topics that I had on my list. Do we want to open this up for questions? If anybody has any questions about any of the functionality, I'd love to answer those questions now.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yes, let's open it up to questions. So the best way to ask questions, because we have over 30 people on the call, is to type your question. All of you are muted. I can see some hands go up. What do you suggest, Jeremy? Better to type them up, or should I unmute people who have their hands raised?
As long as they're using a microphone, have a microphone and a set of speakers, be happy to open up the microphone.
Okay, well, I have a question for Victor King, so I'm going to unmute you, Victor, and off you go. There you are, Victor. Speak up. Can't hear him. Okay, can't hear him. There's another question from Gopalakrishnan. The question is, how does one change a slip entered already?
At this time, once you enter a slip, it is a permanent record. So as soon as you've saved that slip, as soon as you've submitted that slip, that is how this slip will be in the system. That being said, let's say that you entered a thank you for closed business for $200,000 instead of $20,000, and you need that changed. The the membership coordinator of your chapter always retains full access to the POMS report. So that means that they can correct the entry in the POMS report. So what you would need to do at that point is say to your membership coordinator, hey, I put in the wrong entry. I put in $200,000 instead of $20,000. Can you please change that on the POMS report? The My slip, the My Thank You for Closed Business slip, will always show what was originally entered. So they can't change the slip itself. They can only change the results in the POMS report. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, he's asking, can the membership coordinator change the slips? The question I have on that, Jeremy, is this to do with the business rules setting?
Nope.
Okay, because currently any changes, any mistakes or errors in these POMs, they contact the regional office and then we make those changes on the POMs.
That is something that if you would like to allow the membership coordinators to be able to unlock to change the POMs, we can talk about that offline. But the slips themselves, once they're submitted, the way to think about it is right now this part of the program is designed to exactly mirror as much as possible the process that we have now for turning in a physical slip. So if you consider clicking submit the same as you've put that slip into the basket and you've walked away from the meeting, there's kind of no way to rewrite that slip now. You would go back and talk to your membership coordinator, say, oh, that slip that I turned in last week, it was an accident. Can you fix it in the POMS report for me? So does that make sense, BJ?
Yeah, it does. So just to answer Gopal's question, we cannot change the slips, but we can make a change in the POMS report, and we'll get back to you on exactly whether you can do that or will that be done at the regional office. I have another question from Namir. I'm going to unmute you, Namir. So there you go. You can speak up, Namir.
Thank you, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Excellent. Hello, Jeremy. Right. It was interesting that the demo PALMS report you had did have a slight anomaly at the bottom with the RGIs and the RRIs. Normally those numbers should reconcile. For instance, 5252, and those weren't reconciling. So how would that happen? Because if the system's encouraging you to put the data in correctly, you shouldn't get any data that's not reconciling.
Well, that's due to the cross-chapter referrals. So when you enter a cross-chapter referral, so when I'm only passing referrals within my own chapter, those numbers will always reconcile because the receiving member and the giving member are both present on that POMS report. But let's say that we can't do this yet in BNI Connect right now, but let's say that I have a referral for you. What would happen is I would get the credit for the referral given in my POMS report, and in your POMS report in your chapter, you would get the credit for a received POMS report, for a received referral. So therefore, each of our two POMS reports won't necessarily reconcile in that easy way anymore, since the referrals split between two chapters.
I see. Okay, well that does make sense. So it's no longer our responsibility to make sure it does absolutely reconcile. If indeed there is some cross. And is there a way for the member coordinator to recognise that it's happened because of a cross-chapter referral?
Yes, absolutely. So if we go back and we look at, I'm going to go back and look at the view POMS summary, for example, for one of the meetings. So let me just go in and look at all the reports. The other thing that you'll notice if you are a membership coordinator is that as soon as somebody passes a referral for an upcoming meeting, you'll see a draft is created in the system, and that's So you can actually monitor all of this activity during the week as it's going on. But let's take a look at this upcoming meetings POMS report. And again, there's this SLIPS audit report. So if I click on the SLIPS audit report, what we'll see here is, here was a one-to-one, and you notice that this one is bolded, this one to John Hardy. That is indicating that it is a cross-chapter one-to-one, and we can see that the other chapter is BNI Village Business Partners. And the same thing with this referral that I entered. This was a cross-chapter referral. So this one was bolded, and the BNI Business Exchange was the recipient of the other side of that referral.
So likewise, then, if we're using a bold as the indicator, is the number in the palm sheet going to bold, so that it's immediately clear that there will be an anomaly? Okay.
Yeah, all of these numbers already are bold, so we couldn't make them any bolder. But
no, I appreciate it'd be the numbers above, where even though it's 2 or 3 in one of the numbers above, at least if it was bold, we'd recognise, there's bound to be an anomaly at the bottom. I don't have to worry.
I think that's an excellent suggestion. If you could send me an email at some point, support@bniconnect.com, and I would love to present that to the business analysts and programming team for consideration.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Amir. Another question we have is, can we enter a CEU for a previous week?
You can enter these slips anytime you'd like to, but they will always, the cutoff time for entering slips will be midnight GMT of the day of your meeting. So anything that you enter, it's similar to showing up to a meeting now. So regardless of when the activity happened, for example, I very bad of me, I missed last week's meeting, so I couldn't turn in any slips at that meeting. But I had a couple of one-to-ones that happened 2 weeks ago. I now go to my meeting this week and I turn in the slips for both weeks of activity. It's the same thing in BNI Connect, so regardless of when the activity happened, the slip that you enter in BNI Connect will always go to this upcoming meetings POMS report. So does that make sense?
I think so. The other question is from Victor King. This is, will this allow us to enter old data, or will this be a fresh start from the 2nd of April?
It will be a fresh start.
But it will transfer the existing data. The only fresh start I would imagine would be the show me the monies, which members will need to estimate, right?
Well, it's a fresh start on the details. The POMS report themselves, those are static in the system. We just never captured any details before except for the number, basically. But as far as all of these My reports, it is a fresh start with the online slips. It will only have the details of these activities from April 2nd forward. The same thing for the thank you for closed business received. Now, BJ, we can talk about this offline. There are some regions that if you would like to catch up, so to speak, with the thank you for closed business received, there is a possibility to do that. It is a manual process. It's not incredibly complex, but it's something I'd rather discuss with you offline first.
Sure. Okay. Shafat is asking for the email address again. Shafat, I'll actually send that email address out to everybody so they know if they ever need support from BNI Connect, what's the question coming up to. The other question is testimonials. Who enters testimonials, and is there any online facility for that? I guess that's still going to be something which is entered by the membership coordinator, right, Jeremy?
Right now, there is no function for an online slip to track testimonials.
Yeah, so Madhuk will continue doing testimonials the way we do currently. And I have a question from Phil. We make a distinction over here between guests and visitors. I don't know if you guys do that over there, Jeremy.
We do.
Okay. Is there any work around that to make sure that we only track visitors in the system, or not yet at present?
The way that it is approached right now is that is a training, basically a training area where we only enter visitors into the visitor system within BNI Connect. So we make sure in my particular region, we make sure that our visitor hosts know if the person is a visitor, they get entered into BNI Connect. If the person is a guest, they do not get entered into BNI Connect.
Okay. Thanks for that. Hussein is asking, from the 2nd of April, are there any other features to be added to BNI Connect other than online slips and referral tracking? There are some other upgrades coming, Hussein, and I will share those details with the members. But for us in this region, we're introducing 2 new columns, which is the one-to-one columns and the CEU columns, which we don't have in our PALMS report. Do you want to add anything to that, Jeremy?
For parts of the world that have been using the member module for quite some time, you guys will jump right into this with both feet. But one thing that we've been waiting for a long time is if you have thank you for closed business for past members and visitors. I didn't make this clear when we were entering it, but we have what will show up now is there's 2 options. So you notice all of my chapter members are here, but then at the bottom we have BNI and visitor. So you can thank your past members and your visitors for closed business as well, and these will go into the BNI line or the visitors line appropriately in the PALMS report. So that's something new that's in this version that we've been waiting for a long time. The other thing that's coming in this is that on my referrals report, as you pass referrals to other people, the referral tracking sheet is a 2-way communication. So as I pass these referrals to other people, they go into their referral tracking sheet. I can see now through here if they have closed the deal. So if I, let's say, pass this referral to Larry Fish weeks and weeks ago, I can see that Larry hasn't marked this as pending or closed yet. I can know to follow up with Larry whether or not any progress has been made or if I need to intervene in any way. Most of the other updates that are happening, I think, are happening more on a regional level. Trying to find my list quickly to remember what all of those changes are. We do have quite a few changes that are coming, but again, I think most of them are at a higher level at this point. Okay,
it is just gone past 1 minute past the hour. We'll take 2 more questions, and I guess if there's anything else, you can all send me emails with your questions, and I'll be happy to answer those. I'm going to unmute Madhub, who's got a question. So over to you, Madhub. Hi, Madhub.
No, it's fine. My question was answered. But anyway, I have a question. When we are entering into the progress report of the referral what we have received, at the same time when we are passing referral, can we click on the referral and see the progress, whether that person has contacted and what is the progress of that particular meeting?
I don't think I understood the question. The voice was very choppy.
Okay, my question is when we are receiving referral,
yes,
we put a date. Okay, I've met on this. I made a call on this date, and what is the progress of that referral? At the same time, when we are giving referral, can we track whether the person to whom I've given referral have actually called them, have met or not?
Basically, you're asking if you can have a look at the other person's tracking sheet.
No. The details of the tracking sheet, with the exception of the status, are private to you.
It's only for your records, Madhub.
Okay. Okay.
Namir has another question. I'm going to unmute Namir. Over to you, Namir.
Do I have another question? I'm not sure that I do, Bijay.
Sorry. Then
I'm good. Great, thank you.
Okay. And Deepak has a question. Would an email be sent to the person receiving the referral automatically? Yes, Deepak, we covered that. So the moment you enter a slip online, you can see it on the screen right now. They will get an automatic email. So I think we come to the end of this webinar. It is 60 minutes up. Don't take too much time off Jeremy, but thank you very, very much, Jeremy. This webinar was being recorded, so we will put it up for you guys to have a look at if you want to, and for the members who couldn't be with us today, they can do that as well. And Phil recommends a cyber round of applause for a very well presented and excellent platform. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Thank you. And if there are any questions that we didn't answer today, in BNI Connect, if you click the question mark, or just go straight to support.bniconnect.com, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, what you'll see, online slips and landing page, this is just about every single function that members would have access to is documented here, including this entire online slips, every piece of it. If you're unsure how to, again, customize the shortcut links that we were doing before, you can look through here and see a step-by-step presentation on how to do that process, along with entering referral slips and visitors and all of the other things that are available in the system. And again, this will be on, if you go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, this is where all of our webinars are uploaded to. So there's a great message here from Dr. Meisner, if you haven't seen it yet, about the referral system, as well as a number of other topics having to do with the system. And one final request is please join us on facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. And we do a ton of webinar announcements as well as tips and tricks and all sorts of things on our Facebook. So please join us in those places. And I'd like to thank you, BJ, for getting everybody together for this. I always love to get all this knowledge out of my head and into everybody else's.
Thanks, Jeremy. So one last bit for the members. If you found this useful, we're going to have another session just like this hosted by Jeremy on Wednesday next week, but it's at a different time. It's from 8 o'clock in the evening, 8 to 9. So you're more than welcome to come along to that one again, but I would highly recommend, encourage you to actually recommend this to your fellow colleagues. We want to have as many members aware of this so that when we come to the 2nd of April, we hit the ground running. So that's my referral request from you guys. Thank you very much, and have a good evening, everybody, and have a good day, Jeremy. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you very much. Happy connecting.
Bye-bye.